this road will never end. Seems as if I'll never win. Stuck in space and time. Out here alone, without a friend. The bad seems to become a trend.
Welcome back to Alayna's Beauty Talk and more. We're so busy getting to know each other. This segment, or the break, went really fast. All right, I want to welcome to the show Bamboo. She's anchoring the end of the table. She looks beautiful. So do you want to introduce you? I mean, during the break, you gave us, a little bit of information about yourself. But do you want to tell us your story?
Yes, Miss Alayna, thank you just for inviting me here today. You are all beautiful, as you know. I'm just a reflection of your soul.
All right, you can just keep talking. That voice is just so dreamy.
Well,
so with your voice, maybe it can get through to other people
yes.
that are listening.
Well, I am from Senegal, West Africa, and I was born and raised in Senegal. I'm the number 6 of the family of 8 kids. And what is kind of difference with me, I was born left-handed. That is in a country where you have 90% of Muslim and 10% of Christian. You know what it is on the Bible and the Quran, what the left hands are. It's just a part of what people want every time to change in me. And then I was, I don't know if you say Tom girls, I was every time want to do things that boys were doing, more interested about that than what the girls were doing. Meaning I was not interested in dolls. I was not interested in anything else than skateboard, soccer, tennis, playing outside, wrestling, and I was totally different. And I remember my mom saying to people, "Oh, this is my girls, my girls, my girls, and this is my boy," about me. And I said, "Okay." We say garçon manqué in French because I speak 6 languages. And in French, we say garçon manqué for tomboy. This is my daughter, and my garçon manqué. And I was like, the child who didn't want to do what the girls were doing. In this fact, I was not the most beautiful because I was just not into beauty. I was into sport, entertainment, enjoying music, dance. And I decided that, well, if I'm not the most beautiful, I will be the smarter. And I start opening all books, reading dictionary, reading books, 5 books at the same time, interested in language, traveling all over the world in my mind, and escaping that way. Meaning, as I could not do what the girl was doing, every time I was ripped out because it was not what they were supposed to do. That just took me into school, midwifery school, medical school, and I started working in Senegal, and I started working after that, went to Europe, and started working with Doctors Without Borders during 10 years.
Wow.
Beautiful.
But you had domestic violence background. So did that come from your family? Did that come from a marriage?
That comes first for the childhood of the bully, then the violence as I said, when I was not doing what my parents was expecting me to do, well, I was corrected, what they say, corrected, and everybody was allowed to correct you in the family, or cousin or aunt. Everybody was correcting you. I was bullied a lot.
Can you talk about what that correction looked like so we have a clearer picture?
Correction, belt.
Mm-hmm.
You can be belt by your elder brother too. Anybody who has a power can correct you, as I said, because you don't do what you're supposed to do. And I was every time challenging them when they say you cannot do that. I say, well, yes, I can do it. And that continued. They was telling me I was an angry child, but I was not. I was more into going outside, enjoying people, have a lot of friends. But inside, I was every time sad. And to escape, what I was doing is to go to the backyard. I like to dance. I create a group of dancers when I was 13. We were 30. I was dancing in the backyard. And my favorite music was Michael Jackson, The Man in the Mirror. And I was creating in the dark choreography on Man in the Mirror to escape to all this pressure that I have of anybody could tell me anything. Like my sister said, you are never obeying. You are every time doing different. Meaning that continue like that in a kind of not liking myself and that end up into the marriage also. My relationship with men were the same because the person that you trust most, your father, was a man who was also very kind, very nice. But when you do something that was wrong, my brother could correct me, the male could correct me because he was a manpower. And
Is that's still going on there? That hasn't stopped. Has it gotten any better? Do you know? Do you go back to Senegal at all?
Well, I didn't went for a long time, but I know that it's still the manpower in the situation, empowering women, and it's more difficult. Women are independent in a certain way, but they are still under the power.
How did you get? I'm going to kind of speed you up a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you get to the United States?
Through my marriage, my husband is my ex-husband is here. We divorced. He was the situation like I want to come with my family, and end up I divorced, and that was because of the violence that I have in my house too.
And then you ended up at Safe Passage.
Yes, I ended up at Safe Passage where I have therapy, and it was a wonderful moment too.
And when did you go to? I'm just gonna. When did you get to Safe Passage, and did you have? And how did you get to Safe Passage?
Through a friend that is in the program. I will not name her here because she's not here. She told me, you are struggling and you don't ask for help. Let me introduce you to Trish and Safe Passage. And I met everybody.
And how long ago was that?
2014 and 2015.
Oh, so it's recent.
It's very recent. I could not see the violence. I was every time thinking that I can save myself.
And you have a daughter.
Yes, I have a 13 years old daughter, 14.
14. Okay, we better make sure we get her age right.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I'm just trying to protect.
So are you divorced now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
And life is better.
Life is so much better.
And do you owe a lot of that to Safe Passage? You probably owe all of it to Safe Passage.
I do.
I just mentioned that name and you light up.
Yeah, I own them a lot. I own them a lot of knowing myself really and be able to speak out and not hiding it, like being ashamed of what's happened. Like I was not the victim, but the reason why the violence was on me is because of my way of being. And it just brought it out and make me understanding I'm not the one. It's the perpetrator who has to change. And
all right, I'm going to put Jeannie, since you're on the board of directors of Safe Passage.
Yes.
You want to kind of fill in some of the blanks in the story, like what you do, how the classes go, so that we kind of bring it full circle to where she is now.
Yes. Well, like when Boone was talking, you took workshops as far as for business, to help you in business, to help you with self-esteem, to teach you about, you dress beautifully, but for image, because a lot of women, sometimes you leave with just the clothes on your back, and we provide the women with completely new wardrobes. And for your daughter, the healing process, the therapy. Being able to, Bamboo was an amazing speaker at our May 1st event at CBS. And I'm telling you, I told her, I said, you're going to be internationally known because, who would have thought that she would have even gone through that type of violence and to be able to stand in front of 200 people and speak the way she did. It was mesmerizing. So, we help in every single area that you can think about.
I have one thing I'm not understanding is, where do you live while you're going through the program? Do you live in a shelter? Do you move out and get your own? Where do...
Well, each situation is different. So we have women who don't have anywhere to go. But like I said, we have an amazing network because we've been in operation for over 16 years. So we have hundreds of different networks of shelters and other organizations that we work with. So, we just put it out there that, hey, we have a woman. She doesn't have anywhere to go. She has children. What is available? And because we have such an amazing network, because we've been around for so long.
This is what I've been trying to get at.
Yes. And Trish is so well known, because she's
that
a trailblazer.
I saw on the website.
Yeah, she's a trailblazer in this issue. So we are very well connected as far as getting the help.
All right, Del, I know you have some questions. I can see you ready to go.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Bamboo, what was the I know you told us that your background, you grew up with violence in the home, and that it was normal for not just your father to beat you if you didn't do what he wanted to do, but your older brothers and family members. And I can see exactly how that would carry over into your marriage. When did it hit you that you really couldn't take it anymore?
Well, I remember one time I was already at the midwifery school, and my brother hit me so hard that I have a break on my skull, and I have to go to the emergency room in the same hospital where I was going to school and midwife, and is the doctor is a friend. And I came back and I said to my dad, you can continue. If you want to kill me. When you want to stop, let me know. I don't care now. And it's when everything stopped, because they were paralyzed for me telling them, do what you have to do and let's finish with it today. And I was already 20, 22 years old still.
So that was in your family of origin, but what about in your marriage? How old were you?
Well, in my marriage, it was when my ex-husband came. He was drunk and tried to beat me. I just took the fire extinguisher and I said, I will break your head today, and it's over. I'm asking for divorce. That was it, to save me and save my child more than anything, because there was a children in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And what the result was, it took everything and we ended up with nothing, no cars, nothing.
Now, had you already found out about Safe Passage before you said that, or you found out about it after you'd given them the fire extinguisher moment of truth?
Well, that was after, because I went through that. Then I divorced, but I was not seeing the effect of the violence.
Mm-hmm.
And I was figuring it out when people were talking to me. I was becoming more and more sensitive of their words and reacting more, in a self-defensive attitude. That's what I said. I really need help, because I cannot continue to handle that.
And were you working at the time?
Yes, I was working. I was doing some different work. I was working for just to save my daughter, to feed my family, because I came off with nothing, no housing, nothing. But I could save myself.
Did you just leave?
I make him leave.
Oh, you made him
I
leave.
made him
Good.
leave, and after that, everything was crumbling. But I have to move to another place to be sure that my daughter and I will be safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
But look at you now.
Yes.
Look at you now.
Yeah. And it's nice to know that you have your applause here. That Safe Passage, it's not just about helping women get out of that environment, because it sounds like you took yourself out, but that you realized that you were still suffering the after effects and the self-esteem and the raw emotions that you had inside that was stopping you from moving forward in your life in a productive way.
Absolutely. It's because of Safe Passage. And Trish and Linda, I was telling her I was running away from your therapy because I knew you would take deep in me what it is and make me crying every day. But it was exactly to take out all the layers of years of, putting on, and every time smiling. Mm-hmm. And nobody knew what was happening in my life up to now. Many people that I help come to me for help, on any kind of help, don't know what I went through. And I say, sometimes I want you to help me. Meaning Safe Passage helped me taking off all this burden that I was carrying my shoulder. We say in Africa, I was carrying the monkey and the bananas on top of the head of the monkey without myself knowing that I was the one who would need to be carried that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so important. I mean, I just want to stress how important therapy or coaching is in this situation, because often it really is the childhood that we grew up in. I mean, I myself grew up in a I call it a very dysfunctional home, and it set me up. I had an absent father. I didn't meet my father, and having that yearning I had for a father figure, absolutely, even though I'd worked on myself so much, the type of man that I was attracting, the relationships I was attracting were not healthy, because I wasn't healthy. And again, as I said, I wasn't physically abused in some of my relationships, but I was certainly emotionally and mentally abused. And if I hadn't have done the work and really, really immersed myself in therapy and any self-awareness I could do, I would have just kept repeating the pattern. And thankfully today I can say that I have the most amazing relationship with a beautiful, loving man that I just wouldn't have if I hadn't have got the help that I got. Not all my relationships were terrible; some of them were good, but I definitely kept being attracted to a certain type of unavailable, hard man.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was on the same pattern and thinking that it was every time me when I was breaking up. I was even doing, okay, I have 1 month to know you, 2 months to be sure that you're the one, the third month I break up. To be sure that, I don't get attached
Yes.
in a certain way, not physically. I was not doing anything. I was so young, but I have also this situation where on my body I cannot release myself like this. I'm still every time holding. I'm still between the two, how we say, between the two chairs. But it's not about the physical relationship that I'm looking for. It was more about the affection, the loving relationship. And I was also every time jumping into the same pattern of
We
men that I
tend
was.
to do
Yes, I
that
want to love. I want to be
until we
loved.
break it.
Yeah, right. Look
Yeah.
at me. It was just look at me.
And
I'm
do
the
you
good
think
person.
now that your daughter will grow up understanding, about domestic violence, and you think she'll, come out of it as well as you have?
Well, she does. I can see that her personality, uh,
Is
she's
coming through?
is
Yeah.
coming through, and she's every time tell me, "Who is this guy? He has to get out of here. He's not the one, the right one for you." Look,
Yeah.
this is not a good example that you are giving. Is it the role model that you want to give me?
She's amazing.
So she's really on you.
She's really on me, but she knows exactly, who is. And she will say, no, 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 no. I call her my grandma because she acted with me like she was not my mom, but my grandma. Yeah, she's phenomenal, and I'm blessed because God gave me the child that can carry that. That is the one I would love to have. She's a funny, she's loving people, even if she's the only child. She's more extroverted than with everybody.
Yeah. Friendly.
No, it
She's
friendly.
sounds like you're giving her a wonderful role model right now to literally just stop because it goes down culturally. It can just generation to generation. And especially if we've had that chaotic childhood, we're used to the drama. We're used to having to struggle to be loved, to be seen, to be noticed for who we are. So inevitably, what makes us feel in love is that somebody that's difficult or doesn't see us. I mean, it just triggers that sort of. I mean, we call it love. It's unbelievable. It just triggers that pain that hasn't been resolved, and it's like here we go again. Here's another man that I have to prove myself to, or be seen by, or be recognized and appreciated and loved, and like you're saying, and adored. So. Yeah, it's definitely, but it sounds like you've had a lot of help, which is wonderful. So you're going to make wiser choices, plus with the assistance of your daughter.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma, my grandma.
My grandma daughter.
That's funny.
All right, I want to ask you one question. If you to talk to our listeners, and if you advice that comes from your heart from getting out and leaving a bad domestic relationship, if you can put it just in a couple sentences.
First of all, what I would say is it's never okay to be in a situation with domestic violence. And there is always hope outside. Until you are inside a cloud and you cannot see the light, you always have to reach for help. And for sure, the second thing is don't blame yourself when you are a victim, or find an excuse to continue on the pattern of love, good honeymoon, and after that, storm and fight and love again, apologize and love again. That will still continue until you understand who you are. That's the best advice that I can say. Just leave everything and go. Life is so beautiful, and you can be happy with and find somebody in your life that can appreciate the way you are.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to talk about, because we keep focusing on the women, but there are many men in domestic violent abuse cases. And I know Jeannie, you wanted to talk about that. So we can start the conversation. We have a few minutes, and then we'll take a break and then continue.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of controlling women, and women who have dealt with domestic violence in their past, and They come into a relationship, and in order to feel that they're in control, they terrorize their husband and their man. And just think about it. If you threaten the man and say, if you go to anybody and say that I'm doing this to you, I'll just deny it, because who are they going to believe, me or you? So I mean, that's definitely something that's out there. Again, because they are men, there's more shame to it than if it were a woman.
Now, do you get many men coming through Safe Passage?
Not many. We don't, because like I said, there's even more shame, because what man wants to say that at the hands of their woman that they're being abused?
Except it's now being portrayed a little bit more on TV.
Yeah.
So that might help bring it out of the shadows.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, again, it goes back to the children. So the children are seeing this behavior. That's why I go back to the point where I just really believe that domestic violence and abuse is at the base of what's going wrong with our country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I say every time I can add something. When I said, when we talk about macho men, I every time say macho men are usually raised by macho women. And because
that's a good point.
Yeah, I'd explain that further.
Yes, because every time we say, oh, the man is a macho, I say, well, usually in certain family, the person who is raising boys even in the house is the mom. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of men who are in the same situation when they're abused as a children by their own mother, and continue to be abused by the women because they do like we do, go into the same model than their mom, to be loved, to be seen, and end up with a woman who is abusing them.
It's so true. I mean, they say, our first love is the parent of the opposite sex. So in my case, my first love would have been my father. And because he was absent, that was my what I felt was that's what I yearned for, was an absent man, believe it or not. And exactly the same thing as you say, a male child that's been abused by his mother. I mean, of course he's going to choose an abusive partner because he wants to, have a chance to rectify history. And this time it's going to be, they're going to see me and love me and respect me and adore me. So you just keep playing out that childhood pattern and until you get help. So.
And I'd like to say that I think if we would make it a priority to let networks know, and the powers that be, that we are sick and tired of violence being portrayed on their TV shows and in the music. It's one thing I can say about this country. When we have something that we feel strongly about, we can come together, especially the women, because, I just think about when women didn't have the vote. Wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. And women got tired of it. Mm-hmm. And they gathered in the streets, they wrote letters, they did any and everything we could to make our voice known. And so shows like this that are bringing domestic violence to the light, to get people to understand how tragic and how important this is, and that it's not the person next door. It affects you, because it's your child being bullied by a child that's in school that has anger issues because he's being hurt all day, every day, and traumatized, and he doesn't know how to handle it. So this affects every single person in this country, and we need to make it a priority.
It is starting to become a priority. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's come a long way from the time that I was a child.
Yeah. Also, when we come back, I would like to discuss the red flags.
We can start that now.
Oh, okay.
but before that, I was adding on her. For the new generation, the younger generation is what we see on games that they are playing on their phones and app. The violence is there, and now today on social media, it's so easy when you disagree with somebody to start bullying and is on and on nonstop.
And you see that a lot with your daughter, I'm sure. I mean, I think I am so grateful I was not born in this era of social media. I am just, I don't know if I could handle it, because it comes at you so hard and you don't even know where it's coming from.
From
Yeah.
nowhere, people that you don't even know.
No, that's
And you
what
have-
I'm saying.
Yes, and you have to spend time to defend yourself and back and forward, and that can put you in danger because if the person doesn't know you, what happened next? They will find where you're living, and this is what we are seeing in the street. People get bullied and get hit by the same situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just
No, that's
No,
a
and-
really good
Yes.
point.
Absolutely. And
that's
just
a
as-
super good point.
Yeah. And as parents, I mean, we have to be so there
And
for
you
our
got
children.
2 boys.
I've got 2 boys, but to really keep talking with them and helping them navigate that world of social media because it is there. We can't turn the clock
No,
back.
and
But
we
we can
probably should come
certainly-
back and talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're going to take
Wonderful.
a short break. When we come back, we are going to continue this conversation. I think we will come back and talk about social media because that is a big problem. So stay tuned, everybody. This is Alayna's Beauty Talk and more on LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
So I like what I see when I'm looking at you.